This is Mark Bell from SuperTraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West. We have special footage today for the Power Project of Stan the Rhino Efferding. Here he is going with 705 pounds, and next up is 795 pounds. But notice a couple things here before I let this roll. The Rhino's got a much wider stance than normal, which leads to a much wider grip than normal, which sometimes makes it a little more comfortable to generate some force and get that weight moving off the floor, but oftentimes makes the lockout a little bit harder due to the fact that you're kind of increasing the range of motion at which you have to raise the bar because you're kind of squatting the weight up a little bit more. So let's take a look at what the Rhino does here at 705. My boy is getting ready to compete at Super Training Gym, March 24th, coming up. Easy pull, makes it look like nothing. Hanging there in the spud belt. Now he puts that belt up a little higher. Stance is wide, grip is wide. Let's just let this one play through, and I'll go back and analyze it afterwards. Here he goes, 795 pounds. All right, let's go back and watch it. Generated some great force off the ground. One thing I'm seeing here is something we always try to teach here at the Power Project. Keep in mind that Rhino is one of a kind. He's one of the, he'll go down as one of the all-time great power lifters, and he will do so due to his hard work, his form, and all the years he's put in the gym. But just to kind of hyper-analyze what he's doing here, I'm not going to tell you that he's wrong, because a lot of the things he does ends up being great, ends up working out really well for him. I'm just going to point out a couple things that I think would help. Okay, so I like to see people kind of straighten their legs out a little bit more and push their hips back before they bring their hips down. To me, that just helps kind of generate a little bit more tightness, and it also helps to be a nice reminder, an active reminder of keeping as much shit behind the barbell as you can. So he kind of squats into it. He's a little forwardish on his knees, and he's got a good chunk of his body weight, and I'm totally guilty of this myself, a good chunk of his body weight in front of that bar, even when he's about to pull here. But that's a great pop off the ground. The weight does slow down a little bit, but it's just an outstanding blast off the ground there from Rhino. So one thing you got to be careful of is when you're big and jacked like this guy is. Talk about jacked and tan. It's a whole new level right here from Stan Efferding. But something you got to keep in mind here is that when you're real wide like this, and you have huge arms. Stan has huge forearms. You can't really tell in this video, but this little muscle right here, I don't even know what the hell you call it, just hanging off the side of his arm. You gotta be careful that your arms and legs aren't in the way of each other. So even though this stance looks a little more comfortable for him, it's taking some pressure off his lower back. It's taking some pressure off those hamstrings, which he's pulled before. He might have to just take the stance in a tiny bit more, or work out something so that his legs and arms are not in the way of each other. He's going to have to pass those knees through his arms and get them slightly in front of the barbell as he pulls his chest upward. This thing right here is probably the equivalent, let me circle it, probably the equivalent to what Megamind has on his shoulders. AKA Jesse Burdick. That's at least a 500-pound head. But let's watch as he wiggles himself in a position again. It's always good to watch Stan do things his way and still nail some huge weights. But he does drop his hips down, but he's got the arms bent quite a bit here. And I think that's a little bit of like a mobility thing. Like if he doesn't, if his arms are tight, he's not going to be able to drop his hips down as well. So he's dropping his hips down, gets a little slack through the arms. He's going to give a good tug on there, like he does every night, tugging. And so he gets a nice pop off the floor. But as I said, there's a little bit of a trade-off where that midpoint and slash lockout is going to be somewhat compromised. So pretty much if he can just push those hips back further before he squats down, I think he'll really be onto something. And just throw that head back right there. Throw that head back, throw the face back behind the barbell. When you're trying to get strong, you can't go wrong. Strength is never a weakness, and that is it from supertraining.tv.